Hi, my name's Kristen. I just wanted to come on here and give a testimony of Jesus and how he called me out of the world and wickedness. And I really just wanted to give a testimony from start to finish, from the time that I actually met him until now. So, to start with, when I was growing up, my parents got divorced when I was 5. Um, and my parents, I guess, I mean, they went to church and everything, but I was never really old enough to remember any of that. By the time my parents got divorced, my mom wasn't really involved in church, or she didn't really raise me or teach me anything really about God. Maybe a few things, here and there. I guess she would say she tried to teach me, little stories about maybe Noah's Ark, or just a few things here and there she would teach me. My dad was really, he was more of, I guess, what you would call a Bible believer. He went to a lot of different churches, and he did try to teach me about God when I was around him, but I wasn't really around him very often, so I didn't really have any firm footing in Jesus just from growing up. I actually, at one point when I was in high school, I went through a phase where I actually considered myself an atheist, and I thought Jesus was just like a made up character, and I didn't really think that he was real. And I thought like Christianity was just like for happy families because. My family and my childhood, I had a great childhood. My mom, provided everything that she could for me. But I always was a little bit introverted and kind of had a lot of emotional issues growing up. Um, so I always kind of was sad. And in my opinion, I thought that, Jesus was just for the happy families. The families that go to church, the families that have their mom and their dad, and they have brothers and sisters, and everything's just all happy, and they are just a big family, and there's never any trouble. That was my perception of people that went to church or knew Jesus. Um, anyways, fast forward to high school when I met my husband Anthony. I met him actually, it's really weird because the way that we met was we were actually talking about aliens and how we thought they were real, and how we were like, yeah, they're totally real. Aliens are so, um, how could there not be aliens? We were just totally raving about that, and we thought that they were totally real, which they are real, but Jesus has shown both of us that those are actually fallen angels. They're demonic spirits. That's what aliens are. So, anyways, one day, after we had been dating for a while in high school, I had a really strong dream. I had a dream just out of the blue that my husband was telling me, who was my boyfriend at the time, that he was telling me, Kristen, God is real. God is real. He just kept telling me that. Yeah, he kept telling me that in my dream, and so I woke up the next day, and then I saw him, and we were just having our normal day, talking about whatever we're talking about, and then I just remembered the dream, and I told him, Anthony, I had this really weird dream last night, and in the dream, you just kept telling me God is real, God is real. You just kept telling me that in my dream, and he actually started crying because apparently a night or maybe a night before that, he had actually prayed to God that if he was real, that he would just give him a sign, and that the sign had to be really obvious because he really wanted to know, but it needed to be an obvious sign. So that was kind of my first encounter with God altogether in my life. But anyway, so fast forward, we didn't really follow Jesus. We were really young. We just, kept going about living our lives. And we actually ended up getting married when we were 18, like right when we got out of high school. And shortly after, so we ended up getting kicked out of our house. Both of us did, for some things that we did that were totally wrong and rebellious. And we were just, being really rebellious and wanted to do everything our way and thought we knew everything. So we ended up both getting kicked out of our house, and then we got an apartment together. And then that's when we ended up getting married. But anyway, so about a year after we were in the real world, what I would call it, the real world, We weren't in high school, la la land anymore. Our parents were not helping us out whatsoever. We had no help from anybody. Financially, we didn't really have any, we weren't talking to our families at the time because everything, from us, getting kicked out of our house and everything had been bad. So we were totally, on our own. And, everything started to just, there was so much pressure on us, and we just were never able to be happy. We were constantly fighting. We were just doing like terrible things to each other. My husband, had a problem with lust and pornography. And I had a problem with anger and like lashing out at him, and even sometimes like beating him up. I would actually get so angry, and I would have such little self control that I would actually like beat him up, which I'm so ashamed of. But anyways, so yeah, our marriage just started to take, after we got married, our marriage really just started to take a really bad turn for the worse. Um, it was just so bad. I mean, we were fighting all the time, and even though, we really loved each other, we were still doing all of these things to each other that we should have never been doing. So at that point, that's when I kind of really started to seek Jesus, because I just knew that everything was so broken and everything was so bad. And Anthony was my best friend. He was the only person that I had. So I didn't have anyone else. He was the only thing that I had at that time. So I started to seek God a little bit, because I was just so broken. I didn't know what to do. And so I started to seek him. And I got involved in the church at that time, because obviously when people, that don't really know anything about God, the first thing they do is they think, okay, I need to go to a church. I need help. I need God. So let me go to a church. So that's what I did. I started going to a couple churches, and I was trying to do, we were trying to do everything that we could. We were tithing our 10%, we were going to church every single Saturday or Wednesday, trying to get involved in like everything we could be involved in, because, I had just found God, and he was helping me work through some of the issues that I had and some of the issues that we were having. So, I was like, I'm going good with God, I'm on track with him, I'm going to church. I thought I was like totally right with him, even though I still had anger in my heart a lot of the times. I was really trying. I was really trying to get right with God, but I was still, doing things. We were both still doing things that we shouldn't have been doing. We were not totally free from those sins. So I just started to get really confused, because I was hearing so many different things from my family, and, my dad, and just the church, and I was hearing just so many different things. I was getting so confused by all of the denominations out there, and I was just starting to really, question, is Christianity, is Jesus even like the way? What about all these other religions? So one night after I got totally confused, I just surrendered. I surrendered to God, and I remember it specifically. I was in the shower at my apartment, and I just told him, I don't know what to believe anymore. I'm really confused, and if you are if Christianity is the right religion, if Islam is the right religion, if Catholicism is the right religion, if Judaism is the right religion, whatever it is, Hinduism, whatever it is, if you are there, please show me who you are and reveal yourself to me. That's what I told him. I was begging him. I told him, please, because I didn't know. And shortly after that, he did start to reveal himself to me supernaturally. One of the first things that he did was, I was driving on the highway, or not on the highway, I think I was at a stoplight, because I was able to see the car in front of me. And the tailgate was it was a truck, the tailgate was all dusty, and Christian was just spelt out in the truck. And so, that happened about maybe 1 or 2 days after I had said my prayer to God. So, and I had specifically asked him what religion is the true religion. So, he showed me that. And I was thinking, all happy and good. Wow, I'm in the right religion, so everything's good. I'm going to keep going to church. I'm on the right path, so I was happy and pleased with that. But then he really started to show me all of the deception in the Christian church, and pretty much just how they are professing him with their mouth, but they do not honor him with their hearts. he started calling me out of church, and a lot of it is because they don't preach the true message, the true gospel of Jesus. They lie to people. They basically tell you that we're all sinners and we're always going to sin, and that you don't need to stop sinning, or they tell you things like that. They just tell you all sorts of lies, and if you actually ask Jesus to reveal himself to you, he will. So he called me and my husband out of the church, just because none of the churches are pleasing to him. None of them are following him by his Holy Spirit. None of them are. So he really called us out to follow him and really truly seek him by his Spirit and be led by his Spirit. Jesus said that the just will live by faith, and that we should be led every day by his Spirit. So me and my husband started following Jesus from there on out, and he really did lead us, and we really were walking with him. He set us free from a lot of sins that we had in our hearts, and we were just going with him. We were going really strong with him. A lot of our friends and family did turn against us because they don't want to hear the truth of Jesus. They just want to keep going on living their lives in the world, or if they are in church, they just want to keep going and playing the church game. But Jesus really called us out, and he called us to be separate. So that's what we did, and it was one of the happiest times that I've ever had in my life. After we had been following Jesus for a couple of months, we just started to lose faith during the times that we were being tested. We just started losing our faith in Jesus. And it says that you will be tried by fire, that Jesus is going to test you. The apostles talk about it all the time throughout the Bible, that you will be tested. Your faith will be tested to see if you're genuine. And that after you've suffered a little while, Jesus Christ will come and restore you after you've suffered for a little bit. But I was just getting really beat up by the devil. And once you start listening to the devil and you start giving him a foothold, it just starts spiraling down from there, because then I didn't even want to talk to Jesus about it. And I just felt, like Jesus didn't even want to talk to me. And it just started all spiraling down. I just lost faith. And when I was presented with situations that I should have leaned on Jesus for, and I should have went and I should have sought him diligently, and I should have had faith that he would take care of it, I didn't. I just didn't have faith, and I took it into my own hands. So that really just kept getting me further and further away from Jesus until me and my husband just decided we weren't going to follow him anymore. At that point, we had no faith in Jesus because we weren't really truly leaning on him, and we were listening to the lies of the devil. So we resorted to the only thing that we knew how to do, which was living by our flesh. So we went back into the world and started, chasing our career, chasing money, chasing our own appearance, just smoking, drinking alcohol. We just were totally going for the world 100%. Although neither of us ever, the truth of Jesus never left either of us. We would always, when we would get convicted about things, we would just kind of, look at each other and we would know what each other was thinking, but we just never wanted to talk about it because we were so convicted about what we were doing, but we just had no power. There were times when I wanted to stop living the way that I was living, but I couldn't. I had literally no power to do it. And Jesus revealed to me why, because I still had one foot in the world and one foot trying to follow Jesus. And that's not going to work with Jesus. You have to commit yourself to him. That's why he said in the Bible, count the cost before you want to follow him, because you truly do have to submit your entire life to him. And I just wasn't ready to do that. So even though I would get convicted, I wasn't willing to commit. I wasn't willing to surrender my entire life to him. So I just kept living that way. We kept living that way for about 2 to 3 years. And then I had a friend, an old friend from high school, that died. And Jesus actually gave me a really frightening dream about it. And he really convicted me in the dream. And I knew it was from Jesus, and I'll make another video on that another time. But anyways, so I started to kind of get woken up at that point. I was definitely, aware and more open to reconciling with Jesus, but I couldn't, because again, I had one foot in the world and one foot trying to be in the kingdom of God, which that's There is no fellowship between God and the world, none. It means to be in fellowship with the world is enmity with God, and that's what the Bible states, and it's true. So a couple months passed after my friend died, and then one day I remember I was sitting in my car. I was sitting in the driver's seat, and I remember I just prayed to Jesus. I just prayed to him like a 5-second prayer, and I said, Jesus, if you're there, please help me, because I'm really scared, and I really need your help because I'm really terrified, and I know that the way I'm living is going to land me a spot in hell if I were to die like this. So please just hear my prayer. If you're there, just help me. Help. That's what I told him. And then I went on with my day. It was literally maybe 20 seconds out of my day that I said that, but I said it with a true heart. I really cried out to him in that moment. And even though it was only a couple seconds long, my prayer, I had a genuine heart and I cried out to him. And shortly after that, about a week after that, I actually ended up getting in a really, really major car accident on the tollway in Dallas, Texas. I hit another car going about 70 to 80 miles per hour, and then another car actually ran into me as well. And it was very, very, very frightening. It was an 8-car pileup. So I had been telling myself that no matter what happened, when I went back to the world, I kept telling myself, no matter what happened in this life or in the afterlife, that I would find my husband. I would find my best friend. I would find Anthony in the end, no matter what happened. That's what I kept telling myself, and actually the lie that Satan kept telling me, and I kept choosing to believe it, even though I knew that that was not going to be the truth. I just kept choosing to believe that I would somehow be with Anthony, my husband, in the end. So that was kind of what I believed to settle my spirit about death. But during the accident, Jesus really showed me that you're going to enter eternity exactly how you entered this world. You're going to die alone, just like the way that you came into this world, alone. Nothing is going to be, you're not going to be able to take anything. And for most of us, it's going to come without any prior knowledge or any knowledge of it going to happen, where life is going to be gone like this in a second, and there's not going to be anything you can do about it. And at that point, you're going to enter eternity. And Jesus really just woke me up in that car accident. He definitely woke me up, and he pretty much, I felt like he was telling me that I need to get serious with him, and that it's not a game, and that my life could be taken at any moment. And it's because he has mercy on me that he did not kill me, and that I'm still alive, so that I can speak his truth and I can follow him and do his will while I'm here on the earth. So yeah, that's kind of just a short testimony of my relationship with Jesus. I chose to start following Jesus after the car accident. I submitted everything to him, and I counted the cost. I told him, I may lose my career, I may lose my family, I may lose all my friends, I may lose everything that I have, but I don't care, because I know that you will take care of me. I don't care what I lose. I counted the cost, and I just surrendered everything to Jesus. I just cried out to him, and I told him, you know, you clearly could have taken my life at that moment, and I would have entered eternity. I would have entered into an everlasting torment if Jesus would not have had mercy on me and mercy on my soul at that moment. So I am grateful to Jesus, and I sing his praises that he had mercy on me. And ever since then, me and my husband, we decided that we were going to have 2 feet in the kingdom of God, and we didn't want anything to do with the world, and that we wanted to serve Jesus no matter what it was going to cost us. And ever since then, we have just been following him, and he's been leading us. And there's a little bit more, well, actually a lot more testimonies that I have from Jesus, but I just wanted to make this video to just share my testimony and the glory of God and what he's done for me, that he's given me a chance to deny myself and to come and follow after him and seek after him again. And I just also wanted to tell anybody out there who is a backslidden Christian, or anyone that has known Jesus once and turned their back on him, that it's not too late. If you have breath in your lungs, you can cry out to Jesus and he will save you. You have to go and cry out to him, and if you just surrender, he will do everything that he said he would. He is faithful. It doesn't matter if you turned your back on him once, which I'm not saying anybody should do that. That's a very dangerous game to play with Jesus. But if you have, then don't let Satan tell you that you can't get right with him. You can get right with him. As long as you're alive today, you can go back to Jesus and you can reconcile with him, and you're reconciling for your soul. So, I mean, you can make the choice today who you're going to serve. It doesn't matter what happened in the past. Because if you die today, all that matters is how is your relationship with Jesus today. So just like he says, if you hear my voice, do not harden your hearts, but turn to him, and he will do everything that he says he would do. He is faithful. He is the King of Kings, and he will do everything that he said he would do. So just follow after him. It doesn't matter what happened in the past. Just follow after Jesus. Jesus bless you.